It's KFM 95.9 and welcome into the weekend, another session. This time around, we are joined by Bafana Bafana legend, Phil Masinga. Phil, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Sandile.
And it's actually a great time that we have you because as KFM, we are celebrating 20 years of Kaya. And if we look back 20 years ago in August, a certain Brazil scored a certain goal that sent us to our first ever World Cup, and we just watched it now. What goes through your mind when you watch that goal against Congo at FNB Stadium?
Firstly, I would like to say thank you for having me in your show. When I talk about that goal, I still have goosebumps because before the game, in the morning when we woke up, we had a visit from Mandela.
Yes.
And then when he arrived there, he told us that the whole country is having so much hope on us that we will make sure that South Africa qualifies for the first World Cup. And he instructed us that let's go out there and make South Africans proud. And then not only South Africa, by the way, SADC, because South Africa was the first team to qualify in SADC for the World Cup. Then it didn't only make South Africa proud, it made the whole of SADC proud about us qualifying.
And those are the days of Madiba Magic. And we also touched on just off air, just what a party you guys had, how successful that team was. And you mentioned that the party actually began in 1995, 2 years earlier, before this event, before going to the 98 World Cup.
Yes, definitely, Sandile. We had Pirates that won the Champions League.
Yes.
And that was part of our inspiration. And then we had Mapokopoko.
Yes. With the World Cup.
With the World Cup in 1995. And, the Madiba Magic was working, and the unity that it brought amongst South Africans, it was so amazing and awesome. I remember when we played our game, when I scored a goal that took us to the first World Cup, and there were cricket players. They had a game to play the following day or in a few days. They were there at the stadium.
And came to watch.
Coming to support us. And some rugby players as well came to the game to support us.
I remember.
And, when you see things like that, it gives you more energy. And then, when we went through the tunnel, you could just feel that heat of we need to win this.
Yeah.
We need to win this for all South Africans and SADC people. And we exactly did that, but it was not an easy game to win, actually. We played under pressure. We scored the goal 10, 12 minutes when the game started.
Yeah.
From there, we played under pressure, and I remember the late Sizwe Mtaung saving a goal that was supposed to be a goal on a goal line. And I think that game, we had to win it.
Yeah, and you did. And I remember that, Phil. But talking of the late Sizwe Mtaung, and just tell us a little bit of the characters that were in the team, the guys that you played with.
I think, Sandile, our team was a team of leaders. We were leaders on our own right. And we didn't put Unil Tove under pressure as a captain, because we all
were captains.
Leaders.
Yeah.
We were captain on our own right. I mean, you had your doctor, the late Shuz Musweu, the late Sizwe Mtaung, Lucas Radebe, then myself, and those players, they were big characters. And the only thing that I liked about them, we partied hard, and then we worked hard.
Yes.
We knew when to party and then when to work hard when we playing. And
who's the biggest party animal?
I think it was probably myself and McFish. And then you'll bring in the late Sizwe Mtaung, you'll be part of the whole party people. But the good side of it is that when it's time to work, it was time to work, and we were focusing.
And then tell us, you guys have now qualified for the World Cup. The nation is happy. We even have a song from the late Bab Joma Fela, Siya Ya Ifura. I don't know if you guys even, that kind of stuff that we were seeing, was that coming through to the camp, the songs and how you were being appreciated by the fans?
No, actually we had the whole support from everyone in South Africa, from politicians to journalists. Everyone was behind us, and we were having a very exciting moment. And then for the first time that South Africa, in the rankings, we're number 1 in Africa, and then 16 in the world. We're still missing to see that happening. That team managed to put South Africa somewhere
on the map.
You know, and you can't even just take away that issue from that team. That team was just unique.
Yeah, and I don't think we've actually reached those levels ever since, which makes us appreciate the hard work you guys did. But now you guys have qualified, you beat Congo, you've scored the goal, and then a lot changed in the team. We saw the coach was changed. What was the mood like now at the World Cup? Because even the likes of Benny now are becoming the main strikers, even though you were the guy who got us there.
To be honest, during Clive's time, Benny managed to play a couple of games. He was slowly included into the national team. Him and Quentin Forson, they were coming into the national team. But the Confederations Cup that we had in Saudi Arabia is the one that changed the whole situation. And I was really disappointed because I think Clive Barker deserved to go to the World Cup. When he took over as a coach, he promised South Africans that he will win Africa Cup of Nations, and then he will make sure that South Africa qualifies for the World Cup for the first time.
And he did that.
And then he did that. Why can't you give him that liberty of taking his team into the World Cup? And I think even in that Confederations Cup, we didn't do that bad.
There was a nice draw with Czech.
Yeah, we played well. And we are just unlucky. We missed goals as well. I remember Hellman missing a goal. He cried after the game. Mark Williams missing a goal, a short goal. Even myself, in some of those games. And actually, we played well, but we couldn't finish. And then we couldn't blame a coach.
Yeah. Although the coach suffered
after that tournament, and then. We went to Burkina Faso to play the AFCON in 1998, January, and that's where Benny McCarthy was recognized. And no one was giving us any chance of going to the finals in Burkina Faso, but we managed to arrive to reach the finals, and then we lost against Egypt, and then we nearly had to win the Africa Cup of Nations twice in succession. And unfortunately, Egypt was better prepared than us.
That is a strong side. And the World Cup, because remember guys were being sent home. You did go to the World Cup.
Yes, I did go to the World Cup. And then the World Cup, we had a new coach as well. Philippe Troussier, and he what a good coach. I think a good person, but he didn't have more time to work with his team. And like I said, they could have left Barker to
follow through.
Yeah, and he tried so hard to change our way of playing and then play according to his philosophy that he wants. But you can't change a team within 2 months and you expect to get good results. But we were not that bad as well in the World Cup. I mean, it was our first World Cup.
Unlucky against Denmark, Quentin hit the post.
We only lost against the champions.
Yes.
It was France, and other teams we played draw, and then we could have even won our game against Denmark with that Quentin Forson crossbar shot. Then I think for the first participation in a World Cup, you only lose one game and you play 2 draws. It was not a bad result.
And I think, is it safe to say, I think we as South African football and the public, we got greedy. Because as you say, as we look back on it now, it doesn't make sense why you'd fire a coach who's delivered on everything he's promised.
Yes, there was too much politics behind the whole thing, and then I don't want to get too much into those politics, but I felt that Clive Barker was shortchanged.
Yeah. I think, I mean, most people can see that now. It's not even a matter of thinking. And that was going to be your last World Cup. You didn't go to 2002, you then retired.
Yeah.
But before retiring, you were playing some lovely football around the world, Leeds in Italy. What was that like? A young man from Klerksdorp, now playing all over Europe.
Sandile, it was a great experience that I've had. I mean, playing in England, you know, when I left South Africa to go to England, football in South Africa was still a semi-professional football. And all of a sudden, and overnight, you become a professional soccer player. And those were serious challenges that we had to face, myself and Lucas, when we arrived in England. And we had to soldier on. I mean, everything was against us. I mean, I remember myself and Lucas sleeping in our beds there, and I say, "Hey, Chief, I don't see myself coming back next year. Yeah. This will be the last year. I'm not coming back here because the weather was against you, the food, the culture, and all those kind of things." And I was surprised after 6 years being in Europe. I said to Luki, remember the first day you said next day we're going back home, and look at us where you are now.
Sure.
And a great experience, a lot to learn as a player, and then we've managed to open doors for lots of our South African players, because people in Europe started understanding that South Africa has got some great talent. And that's when you had the late Season going overseas.
The late
Sean Bartlett. Shoes was there before us, actually.
Oh, was he?
Because in 1996, in our team, we had about 4 players who were playing in Europe. It was myself, Eric Tinkler, Lucas Radebe, Shoes, and then Agustin Makalakalani. Actually, we had about 5 players who were playing overseas.
Sure. So you guys paved the way. And maybe while we're on that topic, Phil, if I could ask you, a lot of our players now go, and I'm sure they experience the same struggles you say, the culture, the weather, the food, whatever. But they don't last 6 years like you guys soldiered on. They then come back after 6 months. What message can you say to these youngsters?
I think it's a comfort zone. I mean, our football is highly commercialized now, and then players are earning good money. And then when you're earning good money, you're asking yourself, hey, why should I go to Belgium or Holland to go and play there? And it's cold. And the money I'm getting there is equivalent to what I can get in South Africa. And that it slows their growth as players, because for me to go and play overseas, it was competing with the best in the world. And where can you find that? It's only in Europe. And then there's top 4 leagues probably in Europe. I mean, it's Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, and Serie A in Italy. If you compete in there, you know that you're competing with the best in the world, and you're aspiring to be one of them. Sure. You know, then our players, I think that they don't have that anymore. They don't have that hunger of competing with the best in the world, and it takes a knock to our national team, because you need to have more players who are playing there. I mean, you look at Senegal as a team, most of their players where they are playing. You look at Cameroon, I mean, Ivory Coast,
Algeria, all the top sides.
Then it becomes even more difficult for us to compete with them at the highest level. I mean, we've just seen now with the Under-20 World Cup. It was unfair competition. We only had 3 players who are playing professionally in PSL in the national team. And then you look at an Italian Under-20 national team, they had more players who are playing in Serie B and Serie A week in, week out. Then it becomes an unfair competition, and we're expecting these boys to to bring something back home, but most of our players are not week in, week out playing at the highest level.
Obviously the rankings would show us all the things you've mentioned, not having players in Europe. We've got less players in Europe now. We less in AFCON tournaments. Last time we even made it to the knockout stages, I don't know is when. We haven't been to a World Cup that we've qualified for since 2002. We hosted in 2010. And all these signs, obviously, it's fair. Is it fair to say that the gap, obviously, since your days, has widened for these various reasons?
You know, I don't know whether it's a myth or what. There's this 2022 vision, and
Yes.
I'm trying to understand where is it taking us. For me, that it's something good to talk about, but there's no implementation of what is needed to see our country being better in terms of our football development. On paper, yes, it's a good proposal and good presentation.
And it sounds nice.
It sounds nice, but the implementation of it is zero. Zero. Then,
so how do we implement? How do we address these issues that we have?
I think SAFA could have engaged more on capacitating the ex-professional players in terms of coaching, in terms of administration. We've got 9 provinces here, and then we've got all players across South Africa to be capacitated, and then helping football to be growing. There's no football in the communities now. We don't see under 12s league on a weekly basis. And then, but we still have structures of SAFA. The LFAs are there, the SAFA region, SAFA province. The only time they get available and visible is when they are voting for a new president. And next day is that time of voting again. It's election time now. You will see them alive, but where are the leagues? Development leagues in communities.
Now, I know you yourself, after your career, you had a time coaching, but you say SAFA to use former players. Have you been approached? Have you been used by SAFA to help out the next generation?
Till so far, I was never opposed, and for that matter, I've played football at the highest level. And then not only playing at the highest level, I've gone to university to do my sports management with Nelson Mandela Bay University office. That sports management, it was a FIFA accredited course. And they will never invite us. I mean, I don't think they want us to participate with them and be part of making sure that football is getting better in our country. And then without capacitating us, they will always have a problem that they're having now.
Yeah, that's true. Before we let you go, Phil, so now you've retired. People want to know, Afropolitans, the legend, Phil Masinga, what are you up to? Apart from doing interviews with KFM, what are you up to these days?
I'm a deputy president of South African and Masters Alleged Football Association, and then we are associate members of SAFA. You know, it's nice to say I'm an associate member of SAFA, but I don't know my input or the difference that I'm making into SAFA. But I'm a deputy president. And I'm a community person in my area where I come from Stilfontein. I'm involved in a business forum that is leading some few projects that we're trying to achieve, and hopefully you'll pray for me so that
absolutely
we should win on that, because what we want to do with the money that we'll make out of that project is to make sure that we've got a team in my area, because football is dying a slow death in my area, and my area used to produce lots of top-class players. Then I want to see myself playing a very big part in helping to unearth that talent that is around our area.
Fantastic. Bro Phil, definitely the passion you showed on the field, I'm hearing it off the field, and we definitely hope all these projects, and we will be praying for these projects, that they be successful and you can unearth the next Phil Masinga out there. But for today, thank you so much for joining us, Bro Phil. We wish you all the best in those endeavors. And thank you for talking to us. We know you have a long way to drive out to Klerksdorp. That was Bafana Bafana legend, Phil Masinga, talking to us into the weekend. And hopefully next week we have another legend in this chair, a different location. Who knows? Goodbye for now.